Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Harlingen City Commission meeting. The time is now 5:31 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. It has been posted as required by state law, and we have a quorum of the commission. We do have Commissioner Lopez not here, but I do believe that he will be joining us shortly, but nonetheless, we still do have a quorum. At this time, I'll ask for everyone to please rise as Commissioner Kinsley leads us in our invocation.
As we gather here today to discuss matters of importance to our community, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. Grant us the strength to make decisions that benefit all residents and uphold the values that bind us together. May our discussions be thoughtful, our actions be just, and our commitment to the well-being of the city be unwavering. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a commission member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. Members with a conflict of interest cannot participate in the discussion nor vote on the agenda item. Are there any known conflicts of interest to disclose at this time?
None.
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 None. None.
Item 3, announcements. With respect to items not listed elsewhere on this agenda, the City Commission may report on items of community interest, including announcing community events, announcing employee or community recognitions. Item 3A, Mayor's announcements. Mayor, do you have anything to announce?
I just want to congratulate the Harlingen Library for those of you that had an opportunity to go. They did their grand opening of the Children's Center in collaboration with the Junior League of Harlingen. They did a fantastic job. I know city staff was out there, media was out there, and took lots of coverage of the event. It was a full house, lots of little kids running around and having an amazing time. So it was nice to see this come to fruition. I know there was years in the making, and so it was a wonderful, wonderful renovation. I encourage everybody to go out there, take the kids. So many events. I think there's daily events at the library, and just wanted to let y'all know that if anybody hadn't really seen that was happening. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Item 3B, City Manager's announcements. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have anything to announce?
Yes, I do. I would like to congratulate the Harlingen Police Department for a wonderful barbecue they had this weekend. It was well attended. It was very hot, so I commend everyone that was out there, especially all the people that entered the barbecue. Well done. And I would also like to introduce our new City Secretary, Mayra Herrera. This is her first day on the job, so welcome. And that's all I had.
Okay. Item 3C, City Commission member announcements. Commissioners, do you have anything to announce?
I just want to say it's obvious it's hot out there, so make sure you're drinking a lot of water and be careful if you're outside working. Thank you.
None. I'm good.
All righty.
Okay. Moving on to item 4, proclamation, presentation of awards. We'll begin with item 4A, Harlingen Animal Shelter Pet of the Week.
I already saw him outside. He's so adorable.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission. Tonight, Angela has brought Cornelius from the Harlingen Animal Shelter. Cornelius is about 6 months old. He's a lab mix. With him being 6 months, he's very energetic. He does well with kids. So any family who's looking to make an addition to their family, Cornelius will be waiting for them at the Harlingen Animal Shelter, which is located at 1106 Markowski, or anybody interested in Cornelius or any of his other friends that are there at the shelter, they're also welcome to call 956-216-5250. And then just to let y'all know that the shelter will be out at Petco this coming Saturday from 12 to 3. So anybody who may be in the West Laco area is welcome to stop by there for adoptable animals from Harlingen Animal Shelter as well. And Cornelius has been with us for about 60 days, so.
Did you say he was neutered already? I didn't catch that.
He is neutered.
Yes, fantastic. And then you'll be, Angela or someone from the shelter will be at downtown at sundown this Saturday as well, right? It's a Saturday? Yes, yes, fantastic. So 2 opportunities for this fella to get adopted. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh.
Item 4B, Certificate of Recognition Award to Ms. Mariana Donnelly.
Good evening, everyone. So our certificate of recognition is presented to Mariana Donnelly in recognition of outstanding achievement and inspiration. The City of Harlingen proudly recognizes Mariana Donnelly for a remarkable 12-year-old whose passion, determination, and creativity are shaping the future of entertainment and entrepreneurship. Known professionally as That So Mariana, she exemplifies the power of vision, resilience, and youthful ambition. Born in Minnesota and now a proud resident of Harlingen, Texas, Mariana is an award-winning actress, singer, entrepreneur, and trendsetter. In May 2025, she was honored with Best Performance at the LA Web Fest for her role in White and Black Canvas, a film also celebrated at the Houston Film Festival. Mariana has graced national stages, including the Mall of America, opened for top artists, and collaborated with notable figures such as Lil Nas X, Tiffany Haddish, Louis Vuitton, Netflix, HBO, and Hallmark. A founder of Rainbow Drip, a vegan makeup line, the creator of a fragrance, Rain, and the visionary behind That's So You magazine, Mariana uplifts and empowers young voices across the Rio Grande Valley and beyond. In recognition of her artistic excellence, entrepreneurial drive, and positive representation of Harlingen youth, we honor Mariana Donnelly for being a trailblazer and an inspiration to her peers and community. So Mariana and her mom, if you'd like to come up.
I just want to say thank you. I really never had any of this before, and yeah, just thank you. I'm really honored because I never lived down here before. This is my second year living here, and just seeing all this, you guys are super great. I'm so thankful for having this certificate.
Well, don't go anywhere, Miss Mariana. We'd love to take a photo with you. I just want to tell you how incredibly proud we are of you. Welcome to Harlingen. It took us a little while, it took us 2 years, but we're so glad that now we know that we have a superstar living in the city of Harlingen, a celebrity, our very own celebrity. So can we give Mariana another big round of applause? And I saw that you had said you were 12 and a half years old, and I know when you're 12, that half really, really matters. And so you, my dear, are beautiful inside and out, and we're so incredibly proud of you. We'd love to take a photo with you.
Sister and sister too.
Get ready. Phone first. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now with camera. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
Up we have Mayor's Business of the Month, Cheyenne Specialty Cafe.
Okay, So our Mayor's Business of the Month is an initiative that's been happening since September of 2023 and still going strong. And we keep finding even more great businesses, as expected here in Harlingen, to recognize. So we've prepared a video for you before we invite our owners to come up.
Hi, I'm Josie Olivares. I am the owner of Chyann Specialty here in downtown Harlingen. Chyann Specialty Cafe is a little bit of everything. We do catering. We have a full-blown cafe going Wednesday through Sunday. We also do rentals, party rentals, which we cater and also host events in our location. We're more of an Americanized restaurant. We have brunch, which is just your breakfast and lunch. A lot of our favorites is our turkey, which is on Thursdays, and then our fried chicken, which is every day. Also our iced coffees. My 15-year-old had a bright idea, which is we started doing our little hustle from the house, and we carried on. And 6 weeks later, we got our first location, which was on Harrison, and now into a bigger location, which is downtown Harlingen. Take that leap of faith. There's never no wrong turn. Give it a try and don't give up. Our city has done a lot. Our mayor, she's trying to help small businesses grow. Giving this award, we appreciate it. We like to give our customers a big shout out, appreciation. You know, without y'all, we couldn't have Cheyenne's. You know, keeping supporting local businesses. It's beautiful. Come and enjoy Harlingen downtown. Come out and see us, and we hope to see you soon.
So without further ado, Miss Josie, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
I was looking at you, I was like... we just want to say thank you for everybody, our customers, our staff. Without you guys supporting local, it helps other local businesses grow as well as Harlingen, and we can't thank you enough.
Ignore the cameras.
I know. I'm really shy.
Well, Josie, you're doing an amazing job, and you have been, and, you know, the story behind how you opened your business, I think it resonates with so many in our community. Harlingen is definitely supportive of small businesses. Downtown is doing amazing, and it's because of businesses like yours that are open to the community and know everybody's name, right, when they walk in the door, and providing opportunity. And I know you also provide opportunities for individuals sometime looking for work that maybe, you know, they're hard on their luck, and I've seen some of your stories are really amazing. So I think that you're doing an incredible job. So thank you for adding a little magic to Harlingen, and we'd love to take a picture with you.
Okay, you ready? And 3, 2, 1. And first, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then here. Okay, ready? And 3, 2, 1. And one more. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
Up next, we have item 4D, proclamation proclaiming the week of June 15th through the 21st, 2025 as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission, and city residents. We have one proclamation for the evening, and it reads as follows. Whereas the American Mosquito Control Association has designated the third week of June as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. And whereas for mosquito prevention and protection, we should always remember the 3 Ds of protection from mosquitoes, which consist of drain, dress, and defend. And whereas many mosquito problems in our neighborhoods are often due to water-filled containers found around homes, which residents can help eliminate. All mosquitoes require water to breed, making it vital to drain standing water and wear light-colored, loose-fitting clothes, and choose a mosquito repellent that has been registered by the Environmental Protection Agency. And whereas during the 2024 vector season, the City of Harlingen Health Department sprayed 341 hours. This year alone, we are at 202 hours sprayed throughout the city. And whereas the City of Harlingen recognizes and commends the dedication, hard work, and long hours of the health inspectors who serve residents of our community and work tirelessly to improve the quality of life for all residents during vector season. Now therefore, I, Norma Sepulveda, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, Texas, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim June 15th through 21st, 2025 as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week, and call upon all residents of Harlingen to join us in raising awareness and work with each other on not leaving water around your property standing. I now ask our Health Director, Chyann, to come accept the proclamation.
Good evening again. We just wanted to take a quick minute to recognize our health inspectors who kind of pull double duty. They do restaurant inspections when there's mosquito activity, which down here in the valley, it's just about year-round. They pull double duty and they come back in the evening and they spray for mosquitoes. So we actually have 3 health inspectors. Only 2 could be with us here tonight, but we did want to recognize them for all of their hard work and dedication in spending those long hours spraying and trying to get the mosquito population under control as quickly as they possibly can. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Definitely an essential service here in Harlingen throughout the region. If we can take a photo.
Over here, ready, and in 3, 2, 1. One more, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Got it.
Right, moving right along.
Okay. Item 5, citizen communication. At this time, the public is invited to address the city commission and speak on any matter not specifically listed for public hearing elsewhere in this agenda. Please note that the city commission members may not respond to comments or deliberate on topics addressed. We had these 2 submissions for citizen communication here. We will begin with Mr. Robert Lefwich.
Robert Lethwich, 909 East Parkwood. I just wanted to come because I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook and from the city. Again, we've talked about this. Mayor, you brought it up at the State of the City address in front of many people that are in this room tonight. The fact is that you declare that the city of Harlingen is at an historic low on the property taxes. But the fact of the matter is, it's at an historic high. And I used to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I would say, well, that's just misleading when you use the rate 25 years low. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at the city's tax notices, which are required documents by the state and by law, it says notice of public hearing on tax increase. So I don't know how that translated into an historic low. So like I said, you know, being misleading is one thing. Being disingenuous is another thing. But being dishonest, we don't need a dishonest mayor. You sat here and you told everybody at the State of the City address, many people, like I said, in this room. Here's the 2022-2023 tax increase notice. It says right here, increase $904,000. The next year, $1.8 million. The next year, $2.5 million. That means that it's gone up $5 million under your watch. That sounds like an increase, not a historic low. And you can say, well, it's new property, but when you look at the narrative from the city manager's office, and you say, well, it's the new development. Well, it says this property tax revenue to be based from new property added only $361,000 of new taxes out of $2.5 million. That means that the existing taxpayers had to come up with $2.2 million. That means everybody, all your small businesses that you're giving little incentives to, that means they all had to pitch in and pay that back. Now, I've brought this up before. Still today, our mall has not paid their $400,000 property tax bill 6 months after it was due. Penalties up over $40,000. There's top-tier taxpayers in the city of Harlingen, in the top 10%, that are delinquent on their property taxes. So we need to get real and quit trying to tell everybody that y'all are lowering taxes. If the lower rate is helping people, then why are these entities, if the top 10, two of the top 10 taxpayers can't make their property tax payments, how many other people, how many other small businesses and working families in the city can't pay their taxes? It's gone up $6
Your
million
time is up, Mr.
under your
Lepwich.
tenure.
Thank you, Mr. Lepwich.
Next up, we have Mr. Raymond Reyes.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. And those that are joining us for the first time, and it's just a little reminder that citizen communication, as mentioned by the city secretary, there's no back and forth, and also commentary are opinions and sometimes not factually based, but it is here for any type of commentary from the community. Mr. Reyes?
Raymond, excuse me, Raymond Reyes, 706 Nantucket Drive. Well, I mean, there's good things going on in Harlingen, of course, like always, there's some bad mixed in there. I have some personal concerns that I'm working, you know, like, you never stay retired, I'm always doing something. So we're in the process, some partners of mine, of doing some developments, providing affordable housing, and actually going into the process of putting charter schools on some of these properties, basically in North Texas. But I called out to planning and zoning today to try to find out about what we used to have, and hopefully we still have it, the TIF, tax increment funding. I know it was available when I was a partner at Cottonwood Country Club. We were trying to get some money to expand the country club at that particular time, but the money went to another project, let's put it that way. And, you know, so I will reach out to staff, either the assistant city manager, to find out where we're at with the TIF and see if possibly, you know, we can do a project here in Harlingen, because I think affordable housing is very important for, you know, keyword affordable housing. And they're skid houses, so they're wind resistant up to 150 miles an hour, you know, 3-bedroom, 2-bath for about 150,000, which is unheard of, but, you know, we make it happen. Another thing that, because I have pets, you know, I love the things that dogs can do, and then especially with my PTSD syndrome that I have as well, they're always very good about taking care of me. I was trying to find out about rabies and some other vaccinations, and I was told that we don't have a vet on staff. So I was kind of hoping that maybe we could solutionize that. And, you know, with these budget things coming up in July, see if we can get that addressed and taken care of. And, you know, we got a small little deluge. Mother Nature, again, reminding us who's actually in charge, and it's certainly not us. And some areas during that 15, 20-minute spurt started flooding. So I hope that we're taking this seriously and, address it, because the time's gonna come when something, Mother Nature's gonna really hit us, because we're overdue, and that's not gonna go good if we haven't addressed the problem that we have. So that's all I have, and I think I beat the buzzer, so thank you very much for your time, and you'll have a good afternoon and evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes.
Okay, that concludes our citizen communication, Mayor. So we'll move on to item 6, approval of minutes, regular meeting of March 19th, 2025.
Is there any amendments to the minutes?
No, ma'am, motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item 7, consent agenda. No discussion is anticipated on any of the items in this section because they are routine business, were included in the budget adoption process, or have been previously discussed as a staff report or discussion item. These items will be considered collectively by a single vote unless a commission member requests an item be removed from the consent agenda.
Is there anything to remove out of consent, gentlemen? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I want to thank Brian for being here from the airport. And the consent agenda, there are 2 FAA grants, one for $2,250,000, another one for $1,289,000. Thank you for all of your hard work. We appreciate everything that you're doing out there. Moving on.
Item 8, staff reports and other discussion items. Items in this section are not expected to require action by the City Commission and are generally for information only. However, any item listed in this section may become an action item at a future meeting with the request of the mayor or after the request of any 2 commission members or the city manager. Item 8A, City Manager's Report. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have anything to report?
Yes, I do. If the commission could check their calendars for June 30th, I'd like that to be the first budget workshop that we have. I know we talked about doing the budget workshops in July, but that's the last Monday in June, so if we could have that first one on June 30th here at Town Hall at
I'm good.
5:30. Everybody okay?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
Looks good.
Okay, good. So that'll be the first budget workshop. Finance will probably have the budget books to you next week sometime. Also, myself and both ACMs will be out of the office Thursday and Friday. We'll be attending Texas City Managers Association Annual Conference in San Antonio. So that's all I have.
I just want to say that Gabe's going to be receiving an award,
Yes.
and so we appreciate you, Gabe.
Thank you. Thank you. And it was the membership that voted for me, so I want to thank everyone that's a voting member of Texas City Managers Association. Thank you.
Okay. Item B, staff reports. We have none to report, Mayor, so we will go ahead and move on to item 8C, presentation by South Texas Emergency Care Foundation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Rene Perez with South Texas Emergency Care. Just a quick report on some of the things we're working on, and we're looking forward to the summer. So as Commissioner Kinsley talked about the heat, I think that's one thing we need to keep in mind. Anybody working outside or even kids being outside can pose an emergency at any point in time, and we definitely see those call volumes increase with those type of emergencies. Quick report on the community paramedicine program. We are currently, we've received the grant for car seats. Our team is certified in checking car seats. One of the things that I found really interesting was 1 in 4, 1 in 5 vehicles that have a car seat probably has either an expired car seat or a car seat that's not valid. And so we put our kids in the car seat. So it's important that we check car seats and make sure that they're, 1, put on correctly, and 2, that they're compliant. Sometimes you'll find car seats for sale on Facebook or maybe in the flea market, and got people that are buying these car seats And a lot of them may have been involved in accidents or anything, something of that nature, right? And so anytime a car seat is involved in any type of accident, that car seat's no longer good. So you have to replace that car seat. So we do the inspections, and we work closely with Harlingen Police Department on the inspections as well. And we're going to continue throughout the summer to do that. Particularly, you have more kids out on cars and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that our team is out and addressing the needs of the community from the standpoint of the car seats. We have completed, as of 2024, we've already done 86 car seat inspections, and we have teams that go to the station, or folks that go to the station and will provide the inspections, or we go to the events themselves. And then also the CHP teams have donated 77 car seats to people that could not afford a car seat or just needed a car seat for their child. So program works really well, and we take really good pride in the fact that knowing that we want to keep our kids in a safe car seat. A little bit about our Valley Air Care and our critical transport team. We have seen, unfortunately, we live in an area that has a great number of hypertension and coronary arterial disease, basically. And we're seeing more and more patients that are requiring heart transplants or just major cardiac surgery. And so one of the things that we have been working closely with different vendors is the type of training that we receive. We're talking about some really critical patients. 2 days ago, we flew a patient that was on an Impella device, such as the training that we're receiving here. Some of our flight crews are already trained in Impella devices, but we want to make sure that everybody's aware of it. And so in the type of training that we're seeing here, we're seeing these type of patients that require a machine to keep them alive. So they can get to Houston or San Antonio for heart transplant or just major cardiovascular surgery. And so the Impella is a very small heart pump. We use it in the hospitals to stabilize the patient and then get them to where they need to go for that next procedure. The gentleman we transported 2 days ago ended up going to Houston, and I understand is doing really well right now, but was very sick here. One of our difficult air flights that we do, right, are these type of patients because of their instability. And so we move these patients, unfortunately, on the frequent side. And we also just want to make sure that our community is aware that, we need to take care of ourselves. Coronary vascular disease is one of our big issues here in the Rio Grande Valley, and we want to make sure that we take care of ourselves and get the care that we need, and of course follow up with physicians and what have you. But definitely we're seeing this type of patients being moved more frequently out of the valley. And unfortunately, we don't have a major cardiac center in the area, so we have to either go to St. Luke's or one of the big facilities in San Antonio. Like I was telling you with the Commissioner Kingsley's comments about the heat, we also work with our different organizations here, with the kids particularly. We have seen a couple of drownings already. Near drownings, or they call near drownings, is somebody that actually didn't drown but in the process of drowning. And those can be really critical for some of these kids. So we want to make sure that we go out and continue to educate our community on the type of emergencies that we're seeing, and definitely pool safety is one of the big ones, and we definitely see an increase during the summer of these type of injuries. We also see more bikes in the street, more kids out riding bikes and what have you. So we want to make sure that the kids are wearing, gone through bicycles type of training, and also the bicycle helmets, right, are really important to keep our kids safe when they're out riding the bikes. The Boys and Girls Club and all the different organizations that we have in the city do a great job of taking care of our kids, and I think that we just need to do a better job in making sure that they're wearing the safety equipment and everything that they're required to stay safe, and a fun summer versus being spent in the hospital. One thing I'd like to report is one of the advances that we're doing at STEC is we're diving into the whole blood program. So we've been working with the TRAC office and actually with the state of Texas on the whole blood project. So pre-hospital blood saves lives. So if you think about CPR, right? CPR saves lives, blood saves lives. And we're talking about whole blood. It can decrease the mortality by 60% and then definitely have better outcomes with some of our patients. The goal, we approached and you guys, some of you guys saw me in Austin at state meetings over there, and I attend quarterly meetings in Austin. And so meeting with our legislative folks over there and talking about the request for funds to have whole blood throughout the state of Texas. Initially, our group, the State of Texas Whole Blood Project, basically, we approached the legislative folks, asked them if we could have some funding for this project. Our request initially was $2.5 million, and they said, no, we're not going to give you $2.5 million. We're going to give you $10 million. And so, kind of odd, right? You get more than what you asked for, but we'll take it because I think it's an important part. I think we did a great job of the presentation of the lives that we're saving by the use of whole blood. So it's a process. It's not just putting them on an ambulance and going. There's refrigerators and freezers and all this other stuff that we have to have, and then of course the compliance with the blood. So there's protocols and what have you that we have to follow. So it'll be a tedious process. We'll report a little bit more as we get next session. We'll give you a report on how that process is carrying along. Not every ambulance will carry whole blood. It's just on the supervisor vehicle, and as that supervisor responds to the call, then at that point in time, if we feel that a trauma patient or maybe just a medical patient that we feel requires blood, we can start transfusion of blood in the setting, and we found it to be very successful. A couple of weeks ago, South Padre Island, a gentleman with a chainsaw decided to partially amputate his arm. The island just started carrying whole blood. I think it was the same week that accident happened, and they were able to infuse blood. Gentleman recovered very well. Our goal really from the Trauma Regional Advisory Council was really to outfit our outlying areas first. So Willacy County, Starr County, South Padre. SpaceX also carries whole blood as well, and the city of Brownsville. So as we move in, now it's our turn to start moving blood into the pre-hospital setting. So, but other than that, we're really looking forward to this project. Our medical directors really are behind the project, and I think we feel that it's going to save lives, particularly here in the city of Harlingen. And that is my report. I know you guys have other things to do. So, anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Just like always, you're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you to all the men and women of STEC and everything that you're doing to save lives in our community and all the outreach. We really appreciate it, and I know that it's making a difference in preventing those ER visits to our ER, and that's what matters. So we really appreciate you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, we have item 8B. Presentation by Cesar Merla, Director of Public Safety, regarding the LRGVDC LISTO Annual Conference.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Harlingen City Commission. My name is Cesar Merla. I'm Assistant Director, actually, so thank you for the
Promotion.
Not there yet. But
I'll report back.
Right, soon. So just some brief insight on this conference, and Mayor, you were at that conference last year. So in May of 2024, our department held the Ready RGV conference, and that was a preparedness conference for the most part at the island, May 9 and 10. This year we made some changes. It is now known as the LISTO RGV conference. It's more of a 956 touch, as I like to say. And will be taking place at the same location of the Margaritaville. Though the biggest thing, though, that I'm here to talk about is 2 points. First point is this conference now is geared towards a recovery aspect, right? If we take any lessons learned from the most recent flooding that took place in March, the responding is great. The getting through the incident is great. The recovery is what takes the longest time. It is now June, a couple of months after March, obviously, and we are still recovering through that. We see the disaster recovery centers open up, the information resource centers are open here in Harlingen, and so on and so forth, and it's an entire regional recovery effort that's taking time. So this conference now is geared towards the recovery of that incident, whether it's an individual basis or to a very large geographical area. It is now 2.5 days with a preview day on that Wednesday, the 24th, and a full day on Thursday and a partial day on Friday. And my second point here is, my ask, I guess you can say, is to help me make this conference free for the next year. To have more of an outreach to that is to make this conference free. So right now, The conference itself is $100 per registration, and it's, if a city wants, or a nonprofit or a government organization wants to have a table, it's free to set up there and to network with it with all the individuals. Additionally, if all are welcome, not just city employees, not just county employees, but also your volunteer organizations, those individuals that, you know, during a disaster, they get activated, or they in the emergency response realm, self-deploy to help, right? Those are the people that you want to, you know more of, or new organizations that come out and, hey, we're here to help, right? There's a lot of local organizations, just where they go during a disaster. So this is where it's at. This year it's $100. Next year I want to make it free, so the only way I can do that is by having more attendance, right? So that is my short, you know, spill on that. This conference does offer TCOL credit, and that's all for those that do qualify for TCOL, as well as behavioral health credit as well. So if you know anyone, or if you yourselves need that kind of credit, you can, by all means, sign on and, you know, come enjoy the conference. And this year, our mixer will not be taking place at the Margaritaville. It'll be taking place at Breakaway Cruises. So it will be a little bit of a difference on the mixer side of things. So I encourage everyone to attend. This should be great. Pending any questions, yes, sir.
What is LISTO? What does that mean?
Ready, just in Spanish. It just means ready, but in Spanish.
How long have you been here, Mike?
I knew the Spanish word. I'm trying to think out, what does this mean in English?
Yeah, it's just, and the reason, just for awareness, there's another organization that has a very similar name, so I was like, okay, we got to figure out a different name on this one, so we did, and that's where it came out to. So, any other questions?
We all did a great job last year, and I'm sure this year is going to be even better. So I think that I'm glad that you're here and inviting more people, because it seemed more of the emergency and, you know, fire and those types of folks that were out there. But I think it's important, and it's a great learning experience and lots of useful information. Vendors are great.
Yeah.
And so it's a good time. And it helps that it's at Margaritaville.
Of course, yes. That's why we keep having it there.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you all.
Moving on to item 9, public hearings. At this time, the mayor will invite members of the public who have filled out the public hearing and the citizen communication form to address each item listed in this section. Please limit your comments to the topic of the public hearing. If more than one public hearing is being held, you will be allowed to speak during each topic, provided you have filled out the public hearing and citizen communication form for the appropriate topic. If you are signed up for 2 or more public hearings, you will be limited to 5 minutes for all topics. We had 9 submissions for public hearings, Mayor, all pertaining to item 9A.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take this. And I do see Mr. Zarate and Ms. Blanca back there. Do you want to speak at the end or in, okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Of the hearings, that is. All right, we'll start with item 9A, public hearing for a rezoning request from residential single-family district to neighborhood services district for 1.73 acres of land out of Block 6, Section 297, Stewart Place re-subdivision located on the southeast corner of Stewart Place and Brenham Roads. The applicant is Moreland Surveying. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on this item, and we will call up to the mic for 3 minutes. Mr. Robert McGee. Robert McGee. Good afternoon, sir. You'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Robert McGee. I live on South Stewart Place Road. The area that we're talking about is now designated as residential, and everyone in that area is very comfortable with that designation. My concern is opening it up for rezoning will lead to other rezonings in that area, and we are like I said, very concerned about that and want to keep it as a residential zoning area. There are other issues that are kind of peripheral to this, including traffic, infrastructure, and those types of things. And I'm going to let some of my other neighbors talk about that. But again, what we would like to see is that remain as residential and not rezoned to neighborhood services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And now we'll have Mr. Jack Chapman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I live at 905 Stewart Place Road. My property abuts the south side of the proposed site, the whole length of it. I've been there 25 years. Reason I moved there, it was presented by the city as a residential area, specifically R1, most limited to outside traffic, people, trucks. Commercialism was the main thing I was interested in not being next to. And I believe that's the rest of the neighbors. I'm sure Mr. Zarate is going to show his great overhead view of all the area, showing all the freeway and other businesses across the freeway to promote what he's trying to do. And all he's really showing in our neighborhood are treetops and a few vacant lots. And this is a residential area, as it even the development there across from Brenneman and Stewart Place, that corner there is still residential. It's been rezoned for multifamily or whatever, but still residential. And this lot, he's trying to input a commercial entity that is surrounded by residential. And I have no means of showing on your video the houses and stuff. I have photos. I don't know if the Planning and Zoning Commission shared those from our meeting there. But I'd like to point out that the Planning and Development Commission has denied Mr. Zarate twice now. All the residents in the neighborhood have requested his rezoning be denied. It's the wish of the neighborhood, and we don't want to see it adulterated with any type of commercial businesses. I wouldn't move next to a commercial entity, and I don't expect them to move in next to my residential home. And I can reiterate all the points. I think you have it in your own minutes from the Planning and Development Commission. There's nothing about changing the zoning that is beneficial that we can see. There's plenty of places up Stewart Place Road that have vacancies all along. All those strip business offices, there are numerous vacancies. Even at the, where all the bank is and the new restaurants coming in and all that big mall, there's a lot of vacancies there. So I don't understand why they would want to disrupt a residential neighborhood to inject more commercialism where it's really not wanted, it's not needed. And I will yield to the next person that wishes to speak, but I say it's a hard no. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. I have Mr. John Upel. Sorry if I'm, John? Upel? Mr. Upel? Anyone outside? No? Okay. We'll call him back before, at the end. David Woolweaver? Mr. Woolweaver?
Dr. Woolweaver and Mr. Yoko are both unable to attend due to health reasons.
Thank you, ma'am. So just for the record, they are not in attendance for health issues. Okay. I go over to Dustin Moore.
Dustin Moore, 1030 Ferguson. We're the design engineer for this project and the one on the north side of it. And so we, it has been presented to P&Z twice. The first time it was denied, and Mr. Zarate, willingly pulled it instead of trying to move it forward to kind of revamp what his proposal was for the site, to kind of address some of the concerns that he had heard at that meeting. And, that's why it was resubmitted after that, sort of revamping and narrowing the scope of what he was looking to put on that site. He has done that, it's been resubmitted, and, it is a major corridor now. I think it's a 4-lane road there on Stewart Place down to Business 83. And, we feel the area is appropriate and has the infrastructure, but, we'll stand by and make any changes that are recommended. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I have an Alan Crockett. Mr. Crockett?
Thanks for having me. Of course, I'm on the opposing side, but I have a few reasons. We've had, since 2008, 4 different 15-inch plus rains. And when they expanded Stewart Place to its current 4-lane, which goes down to Business 83, and then that's where it terminates, because Stewart Place all the way to Garrett runs into a home, so I don't see that expanding anytime soon. So anyway, this last rain we had, it kind of showcased the drainage issues. When they built Stewart Place to what it is today, Brenneman, which crosses right there at the fire department in this proposed property of Mr. Zarate's, they disconnected the drainage that should have been connected to the storm system that goes to the drain ditch to the north up by the Chevrolet dealership. And that's not addressed. And also, Brenneman's a very narrow road. We're having that new 144-unit subdivision right there, and it's going to cause a lot of congestion. The 4-lane is very nice, but there's no turn lane and there's no shoulders on Stewart Place. And just a little history. If you look at Harlingen from Lewis Lane all the way out to Bass Boulevard, mostly everything between the expressway and Business 83 is residential, except there's a canal that runs east-west that's south of the Chevy dealer, and everything north of that is commercial, of course, and then you've got Business 83 with lots of commercial businesses. But, there's a lot of vacant commercial properties all over the city, and certainly out along Old 83 on our side of town. And with all due respect to Mr. Zarate and Mr. Galvan and Mr. Moore, I just questioning whether we want a commercial entity right there on that corner, given that the constraints of the streets. And second, it is a dynamic part of town, and there's lots of opportunity, and I appreciate Mr. Zarate spending his hard-earned money in improving our city. It's just that in 07 or 08, I tried to develop a piece of property on Baker Potts between Expressway and the highway, and I was denied by the zoning because they said it was in y'all's plan, for the city's plan, to be residential area. And he explained to me at the time, I forgot the man's name, that it was residential all the way up to Lewis Lane and certainly to Dilworth. And I just would like y'all to reconsider the zoning and planning's shot this down twice. And I think it would be better served, at least in the near term, to really look at the issues surrounding this area and see if it's the wise move. Because there's plenty of commercial properties around this city that could use some investment and turn it around and make them viable instead of what we're seeing today all over our city, and especially out on our west side.
Your minutes are up, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. I think that's it, right? Okay, and Mr. Zarate? Or Ms. Blanca?
Good evening, Commissioners, city officials, and neighbors. My name is Blanca Zarate, and I am the owner of property at the corner of Stewart Road and Brenneman. Sorry, I'm super nervous. Directly across from the fire station, number 2, and less than a quarter mile from the expressway. I'm here today to respectfully ask for your support in reconsidering our rezoning request as outlined in our written appeal. And I want to make this very clear. This is not a request for multifamily construction project. Our request is strictly to rezone the corner lot to neighborhood services, which would allow for low-impact commercial use, similar to our current property, Stewart Suites, located on Stewart Place Road in Harlingen. At Zarate Home and Designs, we are builders and developers. We know from experience that locations like this, directly next to a fire station and along a major corridor, are not ideal for single-family homes. The traffic, noise, and visibility make it a poor fit for residential use. However, it's a strategic location for professional offices and small commercial buildings that serve the community without adding heavy traffic or congestion. We understand the concerns of neighborhood residents, and we recognize that years ago this area may have been in higher demand for residential development when traffic volumes were lower. But as Harlingen continues to grow, so do its corridors. And with that growth, we must also reconsider the best and most appropriate uses for key intersections like this one. We're not trying to disrupt the neighborhood. In fact, our goal is the opposite, to bring value. We want to move our business offices and our professional tenants to this location and build something similar to Stewart Suites, an attractive, well-maintained office space that supports the area's momentum without overwhelming it. Other nearby developments offer better opportunities for future residential neighborhoods where privacy, safety, and quieter environments can truly enhance home value. This corner lot, in contrast, is better suited to serve the city through light commercial use. We appreciate your time, your service to our city, and your thoughtful reconsideration of our request. Thank you.
Ms. Zarate, I have a question. I know, because the Stewart Suites is down the street from my house, and so I'm familiar with the design. Is that what is intended in that space, a similar?
Bigger.
Bigger? So how many office spaces would you have?
We haven't came with a plan yet on how many office spaces, but everything is real estate. And if you see our traffic, you could pass by there four times a day, anytime. And the parking, it's like 4 cars only. You know, it's technology now. Everybody works from everywhere. We don't have people knocking at our office saying, oh, we want to build a house. You know, everything comes through phone calls. Yes, we do have meetings there. The realtors do as well, but nobody goes in and out with so much traffic, you know, that it's going to interrupt their peace. I understand this is their home, their peace, you know. We purchase homes to have peace at our own home in our neighborhoods. But this is not a bar, it's not a club, you know. The hours are going to be from 8 to 5, maybe 8 to 6, you know, that's it. And it's not going to, I don't think we're bringing a lot of traffic in because we're already seeing it, the Stewart Suites, except that day of the ribbon cutting that it was, you know, there was, but I mean, that was just the only day that we've had that much traffic in our suites.
And will they be, did I understand correctly that the people that are in the Stewart Suites would move to that location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I think potentially the community or the surrounding homeowners might have a concern because the neighborhood, you know, rezoning it to neighborhood services could open it up to potentially other type of businesses, for example, a dry cleaners. I mean, there's very specific type of businesses. You can't have an H-E-B, but you can have small businesses like a nail salon or things that would provide opportunity for a neighborhood, right? That's the purpose of the zoning. So that is not your
No, that's not my intention at all, and it's not in our benefit either, because our son's attending Stewart Elementary. We're building our dream home on Garrett. I don't want to be, I understand the traffic, I don't want to be stuck in traffic to try to get to my house or to my son's school.
So there'd be professional office space only, similar to what you have?
Yes, ma'am, and new construction, and I know not the last time, the first time when I came with my husband, there were concerns about the leasing. There was a lot of leasing offices, right down the road from ours on the north side of Stewart. And there is, and with this flood, a lot of people have reached out to us and they're like, we need to get out of this office. Like, it always floods here, and they were calling to see if we had space. And these are all professional people that are not gonna bring chaos to our neighborhood or anything. It's just insurance. Maybe, you never know, maybe their grandchildrens are gonna be brokers one day and they're gonna lease from us, But I wanted in that area for that, mainly for us, to do a bigger Stewart Suites, and for our benefit, for our child, the school's there. We're gonna live right down the road, so that's what it's mainly for. It's not multifamily.
Those were my questions. Are there any questions for Ms. Zarate? No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Were you going to speak, Mr. Galvan? Yes. Come on up. Oh, you are here. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. I'll kind of try to stay brief. My name is Gilbert Galvan. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a developer. I'm a builder. I serve as a director on Cameron County Drainage District number 6. And I'm here just to shed light, obviously, on this project. But as being from Harlingen, born in Harlingen, just like probably most of these people are, attended Stewart Place School a long time ago. So I get it. Everybody's point is valid. I don't think anybody can argue the point. Here's the problem, especially looking at it from my point of view. Nobody's asking anybody to give up their property, right? But as the city grows, if we were to use this same mindset on the north side of the expressway, on Stewart Place Road to Wilson, then it would all still be farmland and homes. I actually looked at the Google image of 1985. It's what it is. There was I think maybe a couple of those gas stations were there. Nothing else was there. So if we, or whoever was here then, I'm sure those people didn't like it. Nobody likes change, including myself, and I do change. It doesn't matter. It's always a resistance. You don't want it. But then if you say, okay, I want this to stay residential till the day I die, well, that's a long time. Nobody knows that, right? And nobody wants to make things worse. We want to make things better. And when people, again, I'm trying to be very objective, stay in the middle. Also went back to 1965. The expressway wasn't there. There was houses there. Whether expressway is now, there was houses. Guess what? Some people had to lose, they paid them for them. You know, that's eminent domain. We have to move forward. We cannot stand still. I get it. I'm just trying to shed light on both sides that we have to grow. Stewart Place Road is a major road, and from the expressway to business, sooner than later, whether I like it or anybody else here, it's gonna change. Why? The next major road is Bass Boulevard. So Stewart Place Road is where we have more infrastructure, we have good drainage, even though maybe the west side of Stewart Place, it needs to be addressed possibly, but there's a big drain ditch on the east side. So all I'm asking is, I get very frustrated when I see something like the city commission or planning and zoning turning a project away because Gilbert said so. Well, Gilbert's one person, and Gilbert doesn't like it because it's not what I want. What about everybody else? And so I just think, again, nobody likes it, but as far as saying, let's not do this because we want it to remain residential, that's a difficult pill to swallow. That's not a subdivision. And even if it was, again, what they're saying, they're correct. As far as they can speak and they don't like it, but yet, the point is, how do you tell another landowner that has a property on a corner that wants to build an office space, it's probably 8 to 5, 8 to 7, what's wrong with that?
Your 3 minutes are up, Mr. Galvan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galvan. And does EDC have a position they want to share on this, or no? Okay. At this time, we'll close the public hearing on this item. Mr. Zarate, you deferred to Mrs. Zarate, is that correct? Or did you want to speak? No. Okay. Yeah, sorry, we're just checking the notes on everyone. And Mr. Galvan, you were here. I guess it was stuck, the page was stuck. Okay. My apologies, sir. I could not hear what you said.
I wish to rebut and also present the photos of the homes in the exact area that he's planning to build. Very nice homes. I'd like you to have the opportunity to actually see what's there.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't show the area on YouTube.
So I,
I have the photos, starts in the 4 houses on Stewart Place from Main Street up to the,
You can give them to Josh, or you can bring them up to us.
and then it shows houses along Brentwood, right next to the property.
okay. So I don't mean to cut you off, but no one's going to be able to hear you because of where you're situated, but that's fine. You may just go ahead and keep your seat, and I'll ask Mr. DeLua to grab the pictures. We'll take those from you so they can be considered, but we do have the packet from Planning and Zoning and all of the notes from everybody's conversation, photos, and others that are not here today. Also, we're taking those into consideration as well, since we have those notes very detailed from the P&Z meeting. And in addition to that, I invite everybody to stay. This is the public hearing portion. Once we conclude the public hearings, then we'll move over to the action item, which are the ordinances, and then there will be a presentation from the planning department, and then there'll be items that can be visually seen as they were in the planning and zoning. So this is just the public hearing stage, but I invite you all to stay to see the item being presented by the planning department as well. So at this time, we'll close the public hearing, having no one else to speak for or against the item, and move on to item 9B. Public hearing for a special use permit request to allow an assisted living facility in a residential single-family district located at 1901 East Mesquite Drive, bearing a legal description of Lot 20, Block 2 in Parkwood Subdivision. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on this item. Having no one here signed up to speak for or against the item, we will close the public hearing at this time. Item 9C, public hearing for a rezoning request from not designated district to general retail district for 4.5 acres of land out of lots 1 through 9, Block 4, Midway Subdivision, located at the southeast corner of Grace and Gale Avenues. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on this item. Having no one here to speak for or against or signed up, we'll close the public hearing at this time. And now we will move on, Ms. Melinda, to action items, please.
City Commission will discuss, consider, and take any action deemed necessary on items listed in this section, including the adoption of a resolution or an ordinance. Item 10A, consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading authorizing the issuance and delivery of the City of Harlingen, Texas Waterworks and Sewer System Revenue Bonds, Series 2025, authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement and an escrow agreement relating to such bonds, and pledging the revenues of the city's waterworks and sewer system to the payment of the principal and interest on said bonds, and ordaining other matters related thereto. Harlingen Waterworks.
Ordinance authorizing the issuance and delivery of the City of Harlingen, Texas Waterworks and Sewer System Revenue Bonds, Taxable Series 2025 LSL, authorizing the execution of a payment agent registrar agreement and an escrow agreement relating to such bonds, and pledging the revenues of the city's waterworks and sewer system to the payment of the principal and interest on said bonds, and ordaining other matters related thereto.
Is there discussion needed, or is there a motion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
In theory, what interest rate are we looking at and for how long of a maturity? And the Federal Reserve did not lower interest rates today, and I'm betting my money that they don't for the rest of the year.
Probably good money. Mayor, members of the commission, I'm Roy Rodriguez. I'm the interim general manager for the Harlingen Waterworks, and the interest rate on this bond is 0%.
Explain to everybody how's it 0%.
We're really, really good at it. It's a program that the state of Texas, through the Water Development Board, has put together. It's an important topic. It's a replacement of lead pipes throughout the state of Texas, in our case, the city of Harlingen. And so not only are we getting a 0% loan, but we're also getting half of $1.5 million as a grant. So it's really, really important for the state.
0% interest rate.
Correct.
It's a great interest rate.
I love it.
Are you okay with that?
I'm fine.
All right. All right. Any other questions from the commission? No? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Item 10B, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for a rezoning request from residential single-family district to neighborhood services district for 1.73 acres of land out of Block 6, Section 297, Stewart Place re-subdivision located on the southeast corner of Stewart Place and Brenneman Roads. Applicant Moreland Surveying, Planning and Development.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from residential single-family R1 district to neighborhood services NS district for 1.73 acres out of Block 6, Section 297, Stewart Place re-subdivision, located on the southeast corner of Brenneman and Stewart Place Roads.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have Google Maps here. That's either a really thin slice of property or Google Maps, I can't see it, but it looks like houses with a circular driveway.
So here's an aerial view. The subject property is highlighted in red. It is 1.73 acres. So currently the property is being subdivided into 7 lots. They're proposing this lot be rezoned from residential to neighborhood services.
Okay, so the house I'm seeing on Google Maps here
So
isn't on this house, isn't on this map you're showing.
The house was demolished.
Oh.
There used to be a home there, yes, but it was demolished within the year, last year.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the request is to rezone from single-family to neighborhood services to allow for the development of a commercial office as mentioned. This is the subject property. Here is the fire station number 2 across the street. A little bit of history on that fire station, it has a special use permit. So when the fire engines come out of that station, they have to come out with their sirens off. They cannot turn on their sirens until they hit the expressway. The property up here was rezoned to residential multifamily in 2022. It is currently being developed into 72 duplex lots, and then everything else around is single-family residential. Brenneman Road is a 20-foot wide paved road, so it is fairly narrow. Here is a view of the property from Brenneman Road and a view from Stewart Place Road. So the future land use plan component of the One Vision, One Harlingen Comprehensive Plan shows the area as low-density residential. While the rezoning request does not align with the future land use plan, staff does believe that Stewart Place is in a period of transition. As mentioned, to the north of Stewart Place is commercial. Right along the expressway is commercial, and then to the south on Old 83 is also commercial.
In this planned development, will there be entrances and exits on Brenneman Road or Stewart Place Road only?
So at this point in time, we don't fully know what they are proposing in terms of entrances and exits. The rezoning request is just to rezone the property. It doesn't come attached with a site plan or any kind of formal submittal as far as construction plans go.
You know, Stewart Place Road, 4 lanes wide, could handle commercial development, but a 20-foot wide road?
Correct. So they will be required through the subdivision portion of this property to do an additional 10 feet of pavement along their portion of the 7 lots. Now, that will provide a little bit of relief for Brenneman Road, but yes, it is fairly narrow. The standard is 24 feet for 2 cars to pass comfortably.
How many off, given the space, or what'd you say, 1.7?
1.73.
How many office spaces do you think could fit there?
So it just comes down to different requirements set forth by the International Building Code, and based off how many offices they're proposing, that's also going to determine how much parking they're going to need. So for parking, it's going to be 1 for every 400 square foot of floor space. So it just depends on how large their offices are. That'll determine their parking.
That's what I was thinking, that it's probably going to be less space, office space, because there's not a lot of space for parking, so you're going to have to make that determination. So I live off Stewart Place Road, and right in front of my neighborhood, like literally in front of my neighborhood, is that Pecan Plaza.
Correct.
And so their professional office spaces, I think Legacy Foundation is there. There's like a bank, but nobody,
I think it's Texas Regional.
I don't, yeah, but nobody's ever there.
Nobody's
But
ever
they,
there.
they have an office there, but it's more like executives, and so very professional, and they have a limited parking. And so I was thinking that it would be something of that type because of the space. And our
Correct.
neighborhood is like, there's a house behind there's an alley, and then there's a house, and our street isn't that narrow, but it's a regular neighborhood street. And it seems to me that we don't get any, the difference between us is that only the people that live there go through there. So are they going to be able to, and you may have answered this already, have an entrance through the neighborhood? Because I think that could potentially be an issue for the neighborhood, to have an entrance into the.
On Brenneman.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what is proposed for the developments. Some developments that are on corners have double frontage, meaning they have entrances on both sides. We don't know. They did provide a video. I don't know if they're going to stick to what they provided in that video. But yes, adding that much traffic onto Brenneman Road could become an issue, but that's something that we'll have to take a look at.
And I know there was talk about it going before the P&Z, and it was denied, but this time it's recommended for approval. Is that right?
So planning and zoning recommended denial. There is a provision in the ordinance that allows the applicant to appeal, which is what Mr. Zarate did.
I thought I read that it was recommended for approval this second time.
Staff recommends approval, but
Oh, okay. Staff recommended
planning and
approval,
zoning
the-
denied it.
Okay, got it.
So looking at all that land right there between frontage, Brenneman, and then, what is that, Old Business 83, most of it's all farmland anyways.
Correct.
So eventually, we're gonna have subdivisions in there anyways.
Correct.
Meaning that regardless whether we do it now or do it later, we're gonna have to widen Brenneman, because if you build subdivisions, they're gonna be using that road.
So this development right here is going to increase traffic significantly.
The duplexes.
Correct.
Right.
So yes, Brenneman Road will have to be widened eventually. So this portion of the city got annexed way back when. We annexed it as a rural road.
Do we have the right-of-way width to expand it to the 24 feet like you?
At this point in time, no, unless we purchase property from the property owners along Brenneman.
And we'd have to build it at 32 feet back to back, right? Or at least 32 feet rural cross-section.
So that's for most subdivisions. There is a provision for 24 feet rural road. However, there's no parking allowed on either side of the street.
I don't know that the professional office spaces will actually bring lots of traffic. Having looked at the ones on Stewart Place Suites, I drive through there every single day, and there's probably 3 or 4 cars. I drive there in the morning, in the afternoon. It's down the street from my house.
Which one is that one? Is that where they have the coffee shop?
No, it's, as soon as you get out of my neighborhood, it is, you pass it's like a title company or
The Dunkin'
something.
place? Past that, north of
Past that, it's
North?
north of that, yeah, and it's on the right-hand side. It's called Stewart Suites. It's a nice little office space, and they have just a simple parking lot, and it is never full. As a matter of fact, I thought if they were still leasing, but then I saw got the sign with all the names. What they do in there is they have a title company, they have brokers, so they're really working collectively for the home builder. Somebody wanting to build their home, so you go in there and you have all the services available. So really, one person might be going to all of the different offices. So there's really no one there. And then in Pecan Plaza in front of my house, it's kind of the same thing. There's the only difference, which I think that must be a neighborhood, I don't know, because that wasn't built, I mean, I was already probably maybe 5 years ago. I don't know when they built that one. I think it went up during COVID. And the only thing that gets a lot of traffic there is that Omni rehab place. And so, which is what the concern may be with the neighborhood services, that it opens it up to that. But I wonder if we could do something similar, if the Zarates would be okay with, that we did with Carranza's development, where he put on the plat, like, we're not going to do a convenience store or whatever.
Multifamily development.
It's only good, yeah, they were concerned with multifamily. It seems like here, they're more concerned with just a lot of traffic, which is understandable. You want to have peace and quiet at your home. But if you have just, I'm designating on this plat that it's going to be professional office space only, not a rehab clinic or not a dry cleaner and all those other things, then you really control the amount of traffic that's coming in and out of that space. And you're saying means yes? Okay, so I think that's something that was a compromise between, and that was your district too.
Yeah. So it is something that y'all would be willing
So
to,
the only difference between those two is this plat was previously approved in 2023. I don't know if we would have to go for approval again with the additional plat note.
Or have some kind of an addendum or something to have in writing that
Right.
this is what the intent is for it. We don't want to recreate more expense either. I just, I think that seems to be the concern. And I'll tell you, when they were building that plaza in front of my neighborhood too, I wasn't sitting here. I was just a resident, and I thought, what are they going to do there? It's going to bring a lot of traffic. I had those same thoughts. And then they built it in a really interesting way. They look like little Lego blocks. I don't know what it was. I thought, I would, during COVID, there was nothing to do except run around the neighborhood. So I would see it and think, God, what's going to be there? And it turned out to be really, really nice. It actually makes our neighborhood look like we have some kind of, HOA office or something, but it's not connected to it at all. And we're Nueces, and that's Pecan. Like, they really considered, I think, the neighborhood too.
so my question would be to the folks here, like, how would you feel about that compromise?
That's a weird, why don't you invite one person?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Crockett or Ms. Crockett, or would you guys like to come up to the podium?
I just
'Cause
told
we're
them
trying
they
to-
couldn't do that.
I'm sorry.
So this is going to require a supermajority, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. It's over the 20% threshold.
Please.
I'd like to make a point of order. After Alan.
Sure.
Thanks for having me up. Gilbert Gavon had some good points, and you've made some good points. The city, but like I said earlier, I tried to develop some property on Baker Potts between Expressway and Old 83, and I was shot down by the city because they told me adamantly instead of commercial, they wanted residential one. And my concern is, I know this man builds nice properties. What happens when he sells it? And neighborhood services is kind of sketchy to me. Why isn't it being requested to be general retail? And if you did build the 8-unit office space, that's great, but what about the lighting in the parking lot and the light mitigation that's going to shine in this man's house? And like you said, you live in Oasis Park, but that portion is on the other side of the drainage ditch, and there's a wall between the restaurant in Oasis Park and the commercial part. And I'm not against progress for the city, that's for sure. And I own a big portion of property on the west side of Stewart, and I have yet to figure out what I can do with it. And I, have that in the back of my mind. It's just that my biggest concern is that we got flooded, and we never flooded before, and a lot of that water, and I have it on aerial video, came out of that new multifamily and flooded Stewart. And the ditches along Brenneman used to tie into a bar ditch and then go up north towards the Chevrolet dealer and go into that drain ditch. And when they redid Stewart and built it 4-lane, they didn't reconnect that. And so we have this drainage issue there, and I'd like to see that resolved regardless of whether he builds there or it stays R1. And
That's something we're already working on. Like when I called you, that time we're doing the drive-through, Oscar, he's Oscar, the one I kept on mentioning, that's Oscar. And we're already looking into that.
And I have a more detailed video than what I sent y'all. It's a lot longer. Anyway, Stewart Place north of the expressway is 4 lanes, a turn lane, and 2 shoulders. And we don't have the shoulders or a turn lane.
Yeah.
And the 144 new multifamily dwellings that are going to be built is going to create havoc. And not that the commercial 8-unit proposal that he's proposing would exasperate that. It's going to be terrible no matter. It's just that if you look at the map from Lewis Lane all the way to Bass Boulevard and almost all the way into White Ranch is residential, except north of that, the drain ditch that runs east-west and along Old 83. So we have so many commercial properties in this city that are abandoned and not used and vacant. I don't understand why building a new small unit right there is going to benefit the city when we could take old properties and rehab them, maybe make incentives, make incentives or tax abatements to help men like Mr. Zarate that want to invest a lot of money in our city. But anyway.
So let me ask you, I understand where you're coming from in terms of additional traffic, but is there a way for some kind of compromise, I guess is what I'm trying to figure out. What
if he truly is, the biggest concern we all had was when the multifamily got redesignated that's his. I own 6 acres directly across the street. I was never notified. No one told me that there was going to be a planning zoning committee meeting. And Merlin Cook, who owns 9 acres on the north side, he told me himself that he got notice, but he was too ill to even come and speak and didn't write any rebuttal to it, and he was adamantly against it. And so it is what it is. It's there, and I'm just looking at the vision of the city. Like I said, when I tried to develop down on Bass Boulevard north of the railroad track, I was shot down by the city itself and said, no, this is all R1. You can't put any commercial in. And
when was that?
That was in 07 or 08, and I was using an engineering firm of Henry Willems at the time. He's no longer in business here. And
I feel like we've had this conversation before.
Probably.
Right? I just,
It rhymes
one
anyway.
one of the things that we're doing as a city is we're undergoing a new comprehensive plan right now, and we're really looking at the zoning and the future of our community as well. And so a lot of things are changing right now from back in 2007 to now, and we want to be the commission that sits down with individuals like yourself that has property and is kind of just sitting there and you want to do something, but the commission or the city wasn't really willing to say, this is what we can do to work together to really develop this space. Because the reality is that the city of Harlingen is growing. People are coming into this community.
Great city.
And this is the commission, if I'm being honest, you know, because I'm not going to always be here, but this is the commission that you want, I think, and I only say this because I have confidence in everybody that sits here, that's going to ensure that the development moving forward is going to be responsible, that we're going to follow through, that we're going to hold these guys accountable. You know, just today, all of the drainage districts were meeting with city staff. Like, we are on them constantly. That might not be the case, you know, down in the future. It wasn't the case it was like, we cannot help you, I'm sorry that you have your land. And I'm sure that made you really frustrated. Like, I have this property, why is the city not letting me do what I want with this property, which is what we don't want. We don't want to discourage people from developing their property, but we want to strike a healthy balance between the individuals that live in the surrounding area and the developers. And so this professional office space is much better than a Dollar Tree or
it's
something.
just like when the fire department showed up. Victor picked that property out. He was the former city commissioner. And at first, we were apprehensive, but it's turned out to be a great neighbor. And y'all said they have a special permit where they can't turn their siren on. They ignore it.
Do they?
They turn those sirens on the minute they hit the gas and off
Write that
they
down,
go.
Gabe.
No, we've already had that conversation with the chief. They just said no about it.
And there's almost zero police presence policing the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit on Stewart. It's like a racetrack most of the time.
Well, we've got the right folks in the room to make sure that that they take care of that. But really, I know you said there's some vacant places, but there are a few, but they're filling up so quickly. And Stewart Place, like all of those, the Plaza, those are full. The ones that are in the.
Unfortunately, Stewart Place going south goes nowhere other than the old 83 because when you go south of the school, it dead ends into Garrett,
Right.
and there's a home at the end.
Right.
Unless y'all use an eminent domain to take that house and build all the way to Mayfield or whatever, it's kind of a moot point at this deal. But my concerns are the width of Brenneman. Dilworth is in disarray. It looks like the Water District doing some work on the east side of Dilworth up by the expressway. And just for history, the lot that Mr. Zarate owns there, back in the 60s, belonged to my uncle. My grandparents built on the road I live on in the early 20s, and I've been, our family's been around for over 100-something years right in this area. Dr. Woolweaver lives on the east side of Stewart on the railroad tracks. He owns the property on the west side on the railroad tracks. And then there's Mr. McGee's house and fire department, then my property, and then I live on the road to the west. And I'm certainly not against development and change. And I grew up with Mr. Galvan, and I want for the best for the city just like he does. And I don't think Mr. Zarate has any ill will toward the city. In fact, he's very positive and he's done some good things. It's just that we need to really, really think this through and see if we want to put in commercial properties spaced in the middle of the residential neighborhood. And if this does occur, I would like to see some type of light mitigation for Mr. Chapman, because I owned a house in Houston for a while, and they built a big commercial building in the back, and the man that owned it was very nice. He put awnings over his lights so they didn't shine into the backyard, and did a lot of things like that, and built a nice wall for us. And if whatever y'all do, I just would like some mitigation done to minimize the impact.
I think that's a fair ask, especially since it's folks that have been living in the area for such a long time. And I'll tell you, you have an incredible commissioner, and I know that widening of the road is a priority as well. But of course, that takes sitting down with other folks and saying, hey, can we have some of your land, right? And
So y'all recently changed the way that the water department is governed or overseen. Just to bring, we were annexed where we live now in 2002. And we have yet to be provided city sewer. And that's true there's a city sewer line running down Stewart, but it was put there by a developer who developed something down on Garrett Road. And in, I think Baker Potts or Tamley. Anyway, we have yet to run sewers to all these residents we're talking about, and that's true all the way towards Bass Boulevard. And I know that there's city sewer on the north side of the expressway and also to the Bert Ogden dealerships, but everything in between is without.
You're in good company, because I'm on septics too, so
Right.
I feel you're.
You live in Nueces Park.
Yes, and so, yeah,
So
and that's why.
You know what I'm talking about. And I don't know how long Nueces Park has been in the city limits, but I've certainly been annexed 23
2008.
years and have seen no help. Although
Yeah.
the city did pave our roads very nice.
Well, thank you. Do you have any other questions, Commissioner? Commissioners? No? Okay, thank you so much. Did you want to speak, sir?
Yes, sir, I have a point of order I'd like to address. Promises made, promises not kept. Fire station, example, even as I understand the Planning and Zoning Commission then, when we were at that, put in requirements, there would be no sirens, there would be no air horns until they were off and away from the area. That is not what happened. I've got 3 pages of line item issues where dates and times where they'll just open the bay doors and test the air horn straight at my house. They'll do the sirens, they're gonna take a run. They'll blip the sirens 3 times before they even come up out of their driveway. They'll be pointing right at my house, rearing the sirens. No, I look, my office faces right across, looking at them. I can just open the curtain and look. I've got numerous recordings of them testing ladder trucks for hours at a time, racing the engines. They still do that sometimes, just sit there and pull out on the tarmac, rev up the diesel engines for maybe an hour, not doing nothing, just screaming engines sitting there. They're not supposed to do that. I've written to y'all a couple of times about that and notified the Cameron County attorney about it, Texas Rangers. My next complaint's gonna be to Ken Paxton. It's a violation of state law to be doing that, going against the requirements that are in place for that fire station. So like I said, promises made, promises not kept. They can promise whatever they want, but like's been brought up, that doesn't mean that a year later they may decide, well, we don't want offices, we're gonna do something else. And it's already zoned, and so they have the right to do that. So I'm just dead set against this happening. And about, like I say, promises made, that doesn't mean they're gonna be kept.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, can I say something real quick?
Just this, and that's it, because we need to move on. But over here at the mic, Mr. Calvan.
All right. I've got to, just because I'm going to make a point. His point is well taken. I hear this is what happens when you make a deal. It sounds, I was a volunteer fireman from Cameron County 25 years ago when there was a problem with the city, and so I've been there and done it, and I'm thinking in my head, why are you not allowing, look, if I lived there, I probably wouldn't like it, but if a fire truck or an ambulance or a police officer or a trooper, anybody is running hot, going down that street, I promise you, their siren is on. It better be on. It has to be on. I don't get it. We're restricting these people from doing these things. The minute I need somebody, that's why those stations are there, so they're closer to our property. They don't have to travel 15, 20 minutes. So all I'm saying is I get it. With all due respect, every time we cut somebody's wings, we create more problems, I promise you. Let people do their jobs. And I get it. Nobody likes it, but yet when you need them, we want them there in a hurry. I wanted to vent. Thank you.
Point taken. I know it's an inconvenience because of the homeowners, but I was thinking of that, because I know I've spoken with Chief, making sure that, when they're racing to get to a call, those sirens need to be on for the safety of others. But I do also understand the testing and all of that while they're in the station might be disruptive. But okay, do we have are we complete with our presentation?
So it is a 27 point, Here's a video that the applicant did submit. Yeah, no. Of what exactly they're proposing.
There's of what they're proposing?
There we go.
Can we forward it? I think that's enough, so.
So, yes, also, if they go with that, they will be required a buffer between the residential lots and their property of at least 6 feet, solid face buffer.
And I didn't see an entrance on Brenham Road, right?
I think they're just proposing one off Stewart Place, if they decide to stick with that.
Okay.
But here's the opposition map of the properties that did oppose. The ones in red are within the 200-foot radius, and the ones in blue are outside. So it is a 27.69% opposition, which triggers a supermajority vote.
Ms. Zarate, could you hop up here real quick? Will there be any intention of having an entrance on Brenham Road? Brenham Inn? I always say it wrong. It's not Brenham, it's Brenham.
Everything will be through store, right? Through store, yes.
Okay.
Exactly like that, like the entrances and then the parking, all the big parking in the back.
Right, like the way that it showed on here. And would you be opposed to have it in writing about the professional space and making sure that there is no entrance on the neighborhood Brenneman Road?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure, because since you were over there and you did this, just to confirm and have it on the record. Are there any questions for Ms. Zarate? Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion on this item? We already read the ordinance. No discussion? You have questions?
I'm ready to vote.
No? Okay. Is there a motion? We entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve, subject to the two stipulations you mentioned, Mayor.
Okay. Can I get a second? I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Motion fails. All right. Moving on.
Item 10C, consideration and possible action.
Give me
to
1 second, Ms. Melinda. We are going to hop on over to 10E, consideration and possible action on a presentation by McGriff of the City of Harlingen's analysis for employee health insurance and ancillary policies for fiscal year 2026.
Mayor Scott Gibbs is here with McGriff. We have gone out for quotes for health insurance, and the ancillary services are provided, and he's going to make a presentation on what he found.
Super. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, thank you for having me here today. So as the City Manager said, we did do an RFP on the health insurance. So I'm going to talk about the results of that today. Just give you kind of a few slides on kind of how the claims are running, and then we will go from there. Oh, there we go. So just a quick claims update. I'll talk about the timeline we used, the bid list, the results, also put in a partially self-funded analysis, talk just briefly on the ancillary coverage renewals, and then recommendations. So currently, this is our current 12-month claim listing. I think you can see that we've actually performed pretty well. Right now, when you look at it, we've got 818 actives on the plan. We've got 34 retirees on the plan. And when you look at both those plans combined, our loss ratio, which is going to be claims divided by premium, is about 84.78%. So most carriers on a fully insured side, they kind of look somewhere between a 90 and a 92% loss ratio is what they like to see. So our plan is definitely, outperforming that. And I think that these claims kind of helped us, helped us in the open marketplace. So when you look at it on a 5-year, basis, on a fiscal year, you can see that, our trend line is kind of the gray line. The blue line is what we would consider industry trend. So our plan has definitely continued to perform, pretty well. With Blue Cross, we had a good year, then moved over to UHC, and we've continued to be pretty consistent at about an 85% loss ratio. So we put the RFP out. There it goes. So we put the RFP out March 31st. April 10th, we asked for questions or clarifications. We responded back on April 14th with the interpretations. The proposals were due on April 22nd. They were opened. We did go back and do a BAFO, a best and final offer. We received that on May 18th, and that leads me here tonight to show you the results and recommendations. So we had 5 entities quote. Really, it came down to Blue Cross and United Healthcare as the most competitive, but we had Curative quote. Curative is they're a new company that's out there, and they kind of have it's a new product and a new style product where they require all members to have our assessment with one of their doctors, and then they put them in a no copay plan, and if you choose not to, you go into a high deductible health plan. So their rates were not as competitive as either Blue Cross or United Healthcare. Frontier Direct Care quoted their clinic model, and then they quoted their full takeover model, which would be applicable in a self-funded environment. And then Texas Health Benefit Pool is the old TML on the benefit side. They provided a quote. Again, they were not as competitive as the other two. So with Blue Cross, quoted both fully insured and self-funded, but their fully insured quote, they are offering a one-time transition credit of $325,000 for the city, and then they've actually put inside the rate the wellness coordinator program, which is included in the pricing. So it'll give staff access to one of their wellness coordinators. With UHC, United Healthcare, they actually came in, and Blue Cross also gave a second-year rate cap of 11%. UHC gave a second-year rate cap, but based on a loss ratio basis. They also did increase their reward scorecard program from 300 to 1,000 for per covered subscriber and spouse. So when you look at kind of where we were, I can tell you the initial United Healthcare renewal came in at about 14%. After the BAFO, they came in, like I said, they came in at 9%, and they did have a renewal guarantee based on loss ratio. Blue Cross was around they were around 7% on their Blue Choice network when they initially came out, and they were around current with their Essentials network, which is their HMO network. After the BAFO, they came back and gave us a quote of the Blue Choice network at basically minus 0.1%, and the Essentials network at a minus 7.5% with a rate cap of 11%.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could you explain to everybody
Yeah.
what BAFO is?
Yeah, best and final offer. So we narrowed it to 2 finalists and went back to them, provided a little bit more data that we had so that they could present their final offering. So with Blue Cross, so the Choice Plus network is considered their large network. Their Essentials network is, in the Valley, it's about a 98% match. So it is on an HMO chassis. So with state law, with state law, you cannot have an HMO without an out-of-network. So we would offer both plans alongside each other. And we would, my recommendation would be that the city would fund up to, fund to the Blue Essentials, which would give you guys the savings. And then if people wanted to opt up into the PPO, they could opt up into the PPO. And so for some people, it's the HMO network is a Texas-based network. So, so that is why we would offer the PPO alongside that. So
Excuse me one
yes.
second. I'm sorry, man. I'm still like
That's okay.
learning this and grappling with it.
No, you're good.
Would you avoid acronyms and just use a full term?
Okay, well, HMO is a health maintenance organization, so HMOs typically are, they're typically smaller networks, or they're,
And just to be clear, that provides coverage for the entire state of Texas?
yes, all the state of Texas, and the.
So any doctor I go to in the state of Texas is covered?
98%.
It's about 98% of the Blue Cross network, so it's.
But also, isn't the HMO and the PPO gives you the opportunity to go see whatever healthcare provider you would want to see
Yes,
that
and
is in network,
You still, the HMO, you still.
but you need the referrals.
You don't, it's a non-referral. You, basically, the HMO, you're required to select a primary care physician. That's it. And then if you don't, they assign one to you, but you can go to any doctor you want to go to.
So you don't need the referrals
You don't
from the
have to have a-
HMO to go see the
You don't-
cardiologist?
Right,
or
you
the-
don't have to have a referral. It's a non-referral HMO. And so the only,
Just another point, the PPO is United States coverage,
yeah,
just outside of the state of Texas.
right.
Right.
So with
Just to be clear.
Yeah, and with an HMO, it's, in case of an emergency, you're always going to have coverage. But, if you're on the HMO and you're traveling to South Carolina and you just wanted to go see a doctor in South Carolina, you couldn't do that. So the PPO is, and really for the people, the majority of your people are staying in Texas and going in Texas. And, I think the people that they might have a child at school somewhere, something like that. So we would make sure during the enrollment period that we, educate the members so that they know. But if, for instance, you go to San Antonio to get care, it's covered. You go to Dallas, it's covered. Houston, it would be covered. So, and then again, we would just, we would offer both the plans. So, and like I said, their Essentials network, especially, their Essentials network throughout the state is about a 95% match. In the Valley, it's about 98%.
So you would pay for this, but not for this?
So,
So, Scott, and of course, you're going to cover the self-funded analysis in just a minute, but if we were to pick a fully insured plan, the city would recommend that we offer the HMO, Health Maintenance Organization plan to the employees, and then if they want to opt up to a higher plan, they would just pay the difference.
right.
Either for the employee coverage or employee and family coverage. So they would get the basic plan of the Health Maintenance Organization, which is full coverage for the state of Texas, 98% plan on their, of doctors on the plan. And then if they wanted to have coverage for anybody else that may be outside the state, they can opt up for the PPO. Now, the plan that we would offer would be a decrease of approximately $660,000 to the city of the current price we're paying right now for coverage.
I was seeing that, so that's a 7.5%, which is fantastic.
And most of the employees would probably take that plan. There would be a few that would opt up for the preferred physician, what is that, PPO?
The PPO, the
Yeah.
preferred physician.
Physician.
Oh, my God.
Something.
Yes, preferred organization.
Organization, okay.
Preferred physician organization.
So is there that option currently right now for the city?
No, right now, we only have one plan.
Okay.
When we switched to UHC, we had, United Healthcare, we had to, we had, we eliminated all.
It's a business of acronyms in my world. It's like alphabet soup. I apologize, you know.
When we switched to United Health Care, we got rid of all the optional plans and just went with one.
And that's because of the costs were rising,
That was
right?
because of cost, yes.
And I think, you know, to city manager's point, also, I think there was he has a 5% holder in the budget. So, I mean, this essentially is.
Well, I didn't want to tell them that.
However, yeah,
Moving on.
This would give you the flexibility. And again, to the city manager's point, I think the majority of people, the essentials will work for them very, very well. And the benefits mirror the benefits you have today, and both plans would have that. So at the end of the day, if somebody did want to, you know, if they had a child living out of network, you know, they could just choose to buy up to the PPO.
So that was going to be my next question. So, so the city employees are covered at 100%, and they're living here. So most likely they're going to want to go with the Texas plan. But for individuals that have college students that are under 25 and maybe they're on the other side of the country, then they can opt to get the PPO for just the child.
No,
and
they would take.
They have to get the whole.
They'd have the whole
thing.
family would take the.
All right, got it.
Another reason not to go to Las Vegas.
Yes, sir. So, and again, with Blue Cross, not only will you'll see that savings through the Essentials Network, but they did also give a $325,000 transition credit. So y'all, the city will benefit that, I think, on their first bill. So it's, I mean, it's between those two, it's about $1 million.
What does the city do, Gabe, to educate the staff, the difference between the PPO and the HMO? Because like I have Blue Cross Blue Shield independently, and it's not as great as the city provides for this, which is great, but it's because of the amount of employees and the additional benefits. But so that people know that they can go see whatever doctor that of their choosing. Is there a? It's hard to get to every employee, so how does that look like?
What happens is everyone is required to attend an employee enrollment. And so when they attend, that's when we cover all the health insurance options we provide, and including the ancillary services that we provide in case they want to opt up for any of those.
That's your dental, your vision.
Yes. Now, we don't provide any coverage for that. It's all employee paid.
Geico's.
Yes, but we, and Salazar Insurance helps us with that. They provide staff that, and then if you get Aflac or Colonial, they'll have people there also that provide.
I said Geico.
Huh?
I said Geico, but I meant
And they'll have, because Blue Cross, because it is a switch to a different carrier, Blue Cross will have people here during the enrollment meetings to answer any questions.
That's what I wanted to hear.
regarding
Okay.
that. So Blue Cross will have a presence.
And in a
here as well.
consumable way, to Commissioner Lopez's point of maybe going over people's heads with the acronyms and all this other
Yes,
stuff.
absolutely.
Okay.
So, yeah, they will, that's the, their implementation team and their account managers, they're accustomed to doing face-to-face, enrollment.
Great.
So,
Excuse me, how long will they be here?
I know, we'll.
They're usually here a week.
Yeah, we'll negotiate that with them, so,
Because enrollment is usually the entire week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Could you describe the wellness consultant program?
Yeah, so the wellness consultant program is basically there's a charge they usually have, and it's they have a group of wellness program people, and their job is really to work with the client to help them design a wellness program specific to them. So so staff will have access to this person, and this person, will help them develop a program. Obviously, they know the ins and outs of Blue Cross, so they know the programs that Blue Cross offers, and they'll make sure that there's a engagement strategy to make sure that the employees, to make sure that there's communications going out to the employees so they know what's available for them from a wellness standpoint. And so it will help, like I said, it'll help staff to put a plan together to increase the engagement. Because what happens with wellness programs is it's really all about the engagement. You can have the best wellness program in the world, but if employees don't know about it, and they're not getting engaged in it, it really doesn't do anything. So what that person will do is it'll help get the message out to the employees. And they'll do, sometimes they'll come in and do wellness seminars on site for employees and things of that nature. So.
We usually do health fairs where we
Yep.
provide certain coverages like testing for diabetes,
Yeah,
high blood
and
pressure.
I will, Commissioner, I'll get them to, I'll get more information from them and provide it to the city manager so he can share it with you.
I'm more concerned about the end user than myself.
Yep, no, well, absolutely, but, I'll get, like I said, I'll make sure that, that we have the materials that they have that actually explain everything, so.
All right.
So, I know we've talked a lot about partially self-funded. One thing to remember too is there's an 11% rate cap on the next year. So we ran the self-funded analysis, and we took the information that Blue Cross had given us. And this one assumed just staying with the Blue Choice PPO. And I think what you see is that, when you look, at the top, we've got essentially what the current premium is, where the renewal premium comes in, and then we have the self-funded assumptions for the specific deductible, which, if you're partially self-funded, that is the amount the city would pay on each claimant up to a certain level. So the city would pay up to $175,000, and then the reinsurance carrier would pay for any amounts above that. You would also have aggregate reinsurance, and what an aggregate corridor is it's basically underwriting would come up with an expected claim cost on a per employee per month basis, and then you would have a 25% corridor on top of that, so that if the claims absolutely ran horrible, you would have protection on claims in the aggregate for all claims. So when we plugged it in to the model, and on the right side, you can see the self-funded expense breakdown, where you have, the claims cost, and then you have the stop-loss contract risk, and then you've got your fixed expenses down there, which, administration is for Blue Cross to pay the claims. You have your stop-loss contract, which is the premium, and there are, you would, as a self-funded plan, you would get the prescription drug rebates. So overall, with the quote that we got, it going self-funded roughly is about $200,000 worse than going fully insured.
Question.
So, yes, sir.
You said from the quote we got.
From the quote we got, yep.
From who?
From Blue Cross.
Okay.
So.
That they would run the system?
Yes, which you would expect to be different, because you would think that if they're not on the risk, they would want the numbers to, to look better. But at the end of the day, I think the positive thing is that if we go fully insured this year, even if they came back next year and said we're going to take the full 11% on the cap, we still would have the opportunity to go partially self-funded, next year. So and again, this is just based off the 0.5%, but it would look even worse if we would have ran it on the -7.5%.
So your recommendation is to wait?
My recommendation is to wait. At the end of the day, and I've said it's really kind of how the market dictates it. And down here, obviously, I think Blue Cross feels very confident in their discount strategies and their hospital contracts, and they've actually put their money where their mouth is. So, I think going self-funded this year, the percentage of chance that you would save even more money, I wouldn't risk that. I would not risk that because I don't think you're, I think when we look at it, like it said, like here, where on that scale, the percentage is kind of floating at 45.2, I would prefer it to be kind of in the green area, such as like the 60% to strongly consider, but I'd really at least want it to be over 50%.
And going back, you mentioned we had the four quotes that came in, one of them being the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Not a fan of United because they always go up extreme amount every year. But what was the other two? I know you mentioned, I apologize.
So now Curative they're a new carrier and new into the market.
They're a biotech company.
Yeah,
that decided, well, we should offer health insurance.
Okay.
I've met with them and I like what they're saying. I as a trained underwriter, I can't wrap my brain and make the numbers.
But they're not A+.
They're not. And then we had Frontier Direct, which Frontier Direct is local here in Harlingen. They operate clinics, advanced primary care clinics, and then they have a health plan that they have built around that. So it is, but it's basically theirs is self-funded, and again, at the end of the day, too, with them is down the road, if we go self-funded, they also have a bolt-on, product, which they're doing at Leander ISD and in Brownsville and McAllen, and they basically offer their advanced primary care services, and so those claims come out of your pool. And they manage those claims, and they have a lot of success. And so it was those two, and then the Texas Health, basically the old TML, it was the Texas Health Risk Pool that quoted.
Now, how's Frontier done in Brownsville, Leander?
They've been great. I mean, it's, and we're talking to the district's a client of mine, and we're talking to them about, potentially putting them in. So, no, they've done a really good job. And when it comes, advanced primary care is really kind of where everything kind of needs to move, in my opinion, just because it's, basically when you have that, what they're doing is they're steering the care to the highest quality providers, and also what they're doing is what they do, especially with their technology, is they actually will negotiate with the facilities, and it's a real-time negotiation. They actually have a financial company, so they may, if you're going to Valley Baptist, and I think they actually have contracts about it, but they would call them and they would say, okay, you're at Medicare cost, right now you're at Medicare plus 60. If I wired you Medicare plus 20 right now, would you take it? And most facilities do that because they don't have to deal with, the filing claims. So it's just a different way. But yeah, they've done I think McAllen's had a lot of great success. The city of Brownsville's had a lot of great success, and Leander. So, and they're it's relatively new
But they don't have an AM Best rating. AM Best,
He creates the AM Best rating.
no.
Well,
No, AM Best
yeah,
is a
'cause they're low,
company
yeah.
that looks at the financials of all insurance companies, and they label them from A+
and that's why.
down.
Yeah.
And these are NRs, they're not rated.
And it's,
You have to apply for an AM Best rating, and they have not. And AM Best ratings gives you the probability in the event of bad claims,
Catastrophic.
yeah.
Thank you. I need a speech therapist. That they'll have the pockets to pay.
And they're technically, they're not an insurance company because they're a third-party administrator, so.
And both those cities are self-funded?
Yes.
McAllen and Prosser, yeah.
Yeah.
So then if we were to use Frontier, we go to that blue box you have in front of us where we would take a $215,000 loss
Plus them.
plus 7, no, but
Well, no, so if you went that way, their thought process is that so they would typically come in and save somewhere between 10 and 15%. So the reality would be on the claim number, it might be like 800,000, but this number right here, that 200,000, this is not based on the 7.5%. So at the end of the day, that 7.5% would, plus the 320,000, that's $1 million. So that's why I say today it doesn't make sense. Tomorrow or next year, it may make sense. And the reality too is Blue does a good job on self-funded. So at the end of the day, we take the savings this year, and even if they hit us with an 11% next year, we have the ability to go self-funded if we want to.
Or go out for bids again.
Yeah, or go out for bids again. Yeah, I mean, so,
I think it's great that we're saving money this year instead of going the opposite direction, and all the stuff that we've got to do this year, it's gonna be helpful.
I was afraid she was going to say that.
Yes, sir.
So you only had these 4 carriers that put in quotes?
Yes, sir. And that's not, in today's market, that's not uncommon. I mean, it's.
Standard.
You've still got, like Cigna doesn't have a presence in the valley. And you're with United, and you've got, Baylor. You've got Scott and White, Blue Cross. So, and Aetna, actually, Aetna's not quoting on fully insured business. So they did not provide a quote, and they're kind of in a little bit of a transition. So, yeah, these were the ones. I actually, I believe it or not, I was surprised Curative quoted, but we've seen them out there. Their numbers were not. We've seen them in some areas and putting out kind of low numbers. Theirs was not that way here. So.
Did you use any local brokers for this?
No, we went just to the carrier. That's what we do, and so when it comes to brokers, we don't typically.
So you're not going to have any local agents?
No, that's not up to me. That would be up to you guys. So I don't choose.
You can have them, but it's going to increase the cost of the
Well,
insurance.
and so my job as the consultant is I just come in here and find the best deal for you from the carrier. Now, from a a broker standpoint, that's up to the city and the commission. And I think you've got a broker in right now, and then I think you've got Salazar, and I think Shepherd Walton helps on the ancillary stuff too. So.
Any other discussion?
Well, I was just real quick. So the only other item, Vision is under a rate guarantee. The life and disability through Unum got a rate pass or no increase, and then the Aflac products got no increase. So the Aetna, it's about an 8.1. It's an 8.1% increase. That is employee paid, and Aetna's done a good job. So.
All of these are employee paid.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, yeah, I think we would need an action item on awarding the RFP to Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and then just accepting the Aetna renewal.
We offer like HSAs, right, with this?
Yes. we do.
Yeah,
Well,
flexible
it's
spending,
optional.
FSA,
Yeah.
Yeah.
FSA.
Is that an acronym?
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's because it's the ones I know. I just had to throw it out to this conversation. Okay, perfect.
Keeping it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make a motion then to approve Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Second.
And this is the
Health
the
insurance.
HMO.
PPO.
Including the ancillaries.
Yeah.
That these, yeah.
Ancillaries at the 7.5%.
I think it needs to be because there's two plans, right? So it's the HMO with.
Well,
the
yeah, no,
option.
I think, yeah, I think you would probably, award the contract to Blue Cross and Blue Shield and offer both the HMO and the PPO.
And we would cover up to the HMO.
Yes.
And then the employee would pay the rest if they want to
Right,
opt
just
up,
for
yeah.
clarification.
Yeah.
All right, and so we've got Daniel,
Did you make that?
motion for that. Is there a second?
Yeah, I did.
Second with Commissioner Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we are going to take a 2-minute break.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Very insightful.
All right.
I'll
Okay.
need,
Let's just start her up.
Start it up, Bill. Okay.
All right. The time is now 7:56 PM, and we took a short, brief recess, and we are back in open session. Ms. Melinda?
Item 10C, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for a special use permit request to allow an assisted living facility in a residential single-family district located at 1901 East Mosquito Drive, bearing a legal description of Lot 20, Block 2, Parkwood Subdivision, applicant Veronica Gutierrez, Planning and Development.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, a special use permit issued to Veronica Gutierrez to allow an assisted living facility in a residential single-family R1 district located at 1901 East Mesquite Drive, bearing a legal description of Lot 20, Block 2, Parkwood Subdivision, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
So we all have in our packet, and everybody reviewed it. Does the commission have any specific questions?
Yeah, I do. You're purchasing the property? Okay, yeah, I see it listed on Zillow here.
Yeah.
Yes.
For a princely sum. And has this already been an assisted living property before?
And if you can just approach the mic.
So I can answer that one.
Yeah.
This one has not.
Okay, but there's one near here.
There's one in the area, yes. I
Okay,
believe on Clifford Street.
okay, and then define assisted living. I'm a retired nurse practitioner. Okay, so define for me.
My name is Micah Gibbs, and I'm the owner of Comfort Care Home Care here in Harlingen. So I'm a registered nurse and a small business owner in town. So Veronica and I, about 5 years ago, I opened Comfort Care Home Care. I've been a nurse for nearly 20 years. We've been caring for individuals in their homes. But throughout the last 5 years, we've noticed the trend that we need to find more affordable care for our loved ones. So when Veronica and I got together, Veronica's been working with me at Comfort Care. So we decided, let's get together and see what we have. We found a residential assisted living academy, and we took that. We realized they're licensed in the state of Texas for 16 beds. So what we can do is take Grandma Judy when funds become unavailable, because 24-hour home care with my care is costing over $14,000 a month. So when it's no longer affordable to keep Grandma Judy at home, we don't want Grandma Judy to be in a nursing home. So this is a more affordable place and a safe place. So Comfort Care Home Care will provide 24-hour care. And now it came to find a place that we could remodel and renovate. And this is where we came this property. So
And
we came across this property.
Do you have a license for this facility?
Yes, as soon as we will get the license, it is pending with the state. It's a small type B facility.
It gets surveyed after remodel.
Okay. And that, of course, you'll have to put in the fire
Yes.
extinguishers
We
and all
have all
that
of
sort of,
that.
yeah. Then, will you be having any dementia patients?
This one, our plan, it's going to depend. I'm a registered nurse, so we will review them, and I will do a care plan. This particular one is our first build and our first renovation. So it kind of depends on the acuity level of that particular patient. And there's a lot more that goes into a high acuity dementia care unit.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We do have plans for the future to go ahead and renovate another home and do a ground-up construction as time goes on. Those would particularly be more geared towards the higher acuity dementia care patients. There's a lot more that goes into
And
it.
I see this is like 3,500 square feet, includes a kitchen and everything,
Yes,
so.
and it has a 700 square foot mother-in-law suite, and we'll be renovating to a little over 5,000
Okay,
square
so
feet.
how many patients more or less are you looking to take,
Up
or
to
will the
6.
state?
Be licensed up to 16.
16, okay, thank you.
And when you say affordable care, is this insurance pays for this? No, the out-of-pocket?
Mostly private pay, and then a lot of our residents do have, a lot of our home care clients also have long-term care insurance plans that they've purchased. We do have a contract with the local VA, so my home care company also contracts with the local VA. So that's part of the reason that we decided to do this. We already have a quality, reliable, established home care company that currently services over 60 clients here in Cameron, Hidalgo, and Willacy County, including a contract with the VA. So those current caregivers will also staff that facility, and they will be ran by my home care company.
And someone here said there's already one of these type of facilities?
They said it, but it's over in Treasure Hills.
It's in Treasure
This is in
Hills.
Parkwood.
Okay, so there's not one nearby. Out of curiosity, just in, who monitors, like who, this isn't my space, and so who ensures that everything is in order? Is this the same as if it would be in your facility? Is it the same agency that comes in and does these inspections to ensure that,
Yes.
elderly are being taken care of and those kinds of things?
So our licensing for the home care company is the same. They do a survey in the beginning. Texas Health and Human Services comes. It's the same licensing board that oversees home care, only we will be going for a type B facility license, a small type B. And that has to do with the acuity level of the clients that live there and their abilities they can use walkers, wheelchairs. So we do ADA compliant. Veronica works very closely with our team, our contractor, and so everything has to be ADA compliant.
And you said 2 or 3, or in the packets, 2 or 3 workers, 24 hours a day?
Yes, so by state,
I will also be on site as well.
yeah, so she's the on-site
4.
administrator.
Okay.
So for every 6 patients, you will need 1 caregiver. So once you reach 12, if you do have a 13th patient, you will need a 3rd caregiver during the day.
Okay.
So those are better staffing ratios than at an assisted living or a nursing home.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies.
Item 10D, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for a request to rezone from not designated district to general retail district for 4.5 acres of land out of lots 1 through 9, Block 4, Midway Subdivision, located at the southeast corner of Grace and Gale Avenues. Applicant Chris Hamby, Planning and Development.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from not designated N District to General Retail GR District for 4.5 acres out of lots 1-9, Block 4, Midway Subdivision, located on the southeast corner of US 77 Frontage Road and Grace Avenue.
Is there a motion approved?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item 10F, consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary construction plans and final plat with conditions of the proposed Tuscany Hills subdivision bearing a legal description of a 73.69 acre tract of land, more or less, out of and forming a part of blocks 28, 36, and 37 of the Palmetto subdivision located south of Grimes Avenue and west of Bob Yoker Road, Planning and Development.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Kinsley, second by
Second.
Bettis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item 10G, consideration and possible action to approve the one-year action plan budget for fiscal year 2025-2026, year 51 of the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnership Programs as recommended by the Community Development Advisory Board, CDBG.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Here we are again with our annual allocations. As you all know, the City of Harlingen is an entitlement community for Community Development Block Grant Funds and Home Investment Partnership Program Funds. This year, we did get a little bit more funding for both CDBG and for Home. CDBG, we got $49,172 more than we did last year. And for Home, it was $1,454.79 more. It helps. So we've gone through the process of having our public hearings and our meetings with the Community Development Advisory Board. We put out a NOFA, a Notice of Funding Availability, acronyms, and we got 12 applications.
Somebody's listening.
Yes.
Good job.
We got 12 applications for nonprofit organizations, and we got 8 applications from departments, city departments, and utility companies. So these are the allocations that, as you can see on the left, it is kind of small, but the left are the amounts that were requested by the agencies and the departments. And then on the right are the recommendations that, as they were established by the Community Development Advisory Board. I do have Mr. Jim Young here. He's our board chair. If y'all have any specific questions, or maybe he can discuss or explain why the recommendations were recommended as they are. Would you like for me to go ahead and read them out, or?
No, that'll take a long time, but I do have a question. And I think I had looked at this last year or maybe the year before, I don't remember. The Literacy Center of Harlingen, they requested 68,000 and they got 0. And I remember, I don't think that we've ever funded them. What's the purpose behind, like, why not?
We have not. This was the recommendation by the board, so. Yeah.
Yes, that's
I know
where
it's hard.
That's where I step in. Jim Young, board chair. I'll be your meat shield for this evening. Literacy Center, we declined to recommend their funding. This body knows, but for anybody who's interested, we're an advisory board. These are recommendations. This body has and can again alter these as they see fit. The board on that particular application felt that, we knew that the request was for the salary of an executive director and possibly another cost, very much sort of core functionality, primary overhead kind of stuff. And our board has focused and did focus this year on funding application requests that were tied to specific projects, funding application requests that were directly tied to the ability to serve more people. We don't want to get into the practice of funding the core or basic overhead of these entities, not because we don't value what the Literacy Center does. Every application comes from a department or an organization that is vitally important to this community. And as long as I've been on this board, and certainly now that I'm chair, we base our recommendations on how we squeeze every last bit out of every dollar that we get. And we have the utmost fondness and respect and appreciation for the Literacy Center. If they come back to us with a project, with a request to fund somebody that's going to allow them to reach more people, I think that is an application that would garner more consideration. And let's also be clear, this is very competitive. And my board is tasked with making distinctions that we don't want to make. But we had $962,807 to allocate to service organizations, and requested were $1,753,853.71. And so we know some people are going to be disappointed with this, and it happens every year. And last year, this board moved some things around and altered our recommendations, and we stand aside for y'all to do that. But that was the reasoning on Literacy Center.
Thank you. No, I understand. I was, just because I had looked at it in previous years and saw that I don't think they had applied. And then so when they do apply and then we don't fund, I don't want them to feel discouraged, and maybe just come back next year. And I like the idea of funding programs or programming or reaching more people.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I know that when we were over in Austin, that the commission, for the Veterans Commission, we're looking at that as well. Like, how much of this is going to administrative costs? We want to help people, we want to help veterans, and not, even though that is necessary, especially like sometimes they have like, you need like the county, they need I think they need funds for the specific probation officer or things like
Sure.
that, but they really want to help the actual veterans, even though those individuals that are running the organizations are really helping people. So it's a hard.
It's not because, we didn't value it. And
Yeah.
so, absolutely.
That was the only thing that kind of stuck out for me. And I am assuming the aging, because I know that the COG also got reduced funding for the aging services that they provide. So it's a big reduction in what, but that is only just so that you can distribute the funds, I'm assuming.
Well, it's all garnered toward, yes, trying to get to all those applicants that we feel are really squarely in our wheelhouse, and to make sure that we can hit as many of those applications as possible. The two Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council applications were from the Aging and Disability Resource Center and the Area Agency on Aging. We look at a lot of things, not just the corpus of the application and what they propose to do with the funding, but also their relative financial strength. We don't want to punish people that have strong financials. We love that they have strong financials. That means they're better able to serve this community. But 962,000 to 1.7 million, we have this difficult task. Those two entities are part of the same entity. And so we made a decision to consolidate the applications and then fund them on a basis consistent with the other service organizations that we did recommend funding for.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. Does the commission?
Make a motion to approve. Thank you guys very much for all
Second.
the hard work you do.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries
That's it.
unanimously. Thank you.
Wow, that was easier than I
Wonderful
thought. I always want to thank Sandy Alvarez, the program director, Nicole Rios, and Veronica Caballero. The board meets every so often as needed. They do the work every single day. And so we're also appreciative of the board for putting together what I think is a fantastic board. I'm proud of them. I stand behind their work, and I appreciate everything that y'all are doing.
You guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Yes. You guys did all of the hard work for us and made it easy, and so we thank you so much. I know that it takes a long time, and I saw the big old ginormous binders, so yes, kudos to you. Thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate all of you.
Thank you very much.
Item 10H, consideration and possible action to approve the conversion of one part-time position to one full-time position for the Tony Butler Golf Course Snack Bar. Golf.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries
Great job,
unanimously. Thank you.
Item 10I, consideration and possible action to authorize the city manager to reallocate the $50,000 in city funds originally allocated for the Immigrant Assistance Program to the Loaves and Fishes Open Arms Emergency Shelter Program to support the continued operation of the shelter. City manager.
So moved.
Second.
All right, everybody's so excited for Loaves and Fishes. We got a motion to approve from Mike Mesmer, a second from Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
10J, consideration and possible action to award a contract to Go Underground LLC pursuant to bid number 2025-06 for the 5th and 7th Storm Sewer Improvements Engineering Department.
Good evening. My name is Luis Vargas, and I'm the city engineer. This item is build a drainage project on 5th and 7th Street. We're proposing to install approximately 5,000 linear feet of stormwater underground pipes in the streets predominantly in 5th and 7th, covering areas from Van Buren to Polk Avenue. We're capturing the drainage of 80 acres, and we've included a location map.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Luis.
This is the one, Mayor, that you and Congressman Vicente Gonzalez worked on to give us the money for, so thank you
Yes.
very much, Mayor and Congressman Gonzalez.
Absolutely. Thank you, and thank you to staff.
Item 10K, consideration and possible action on Phase 2 of the Jefferson Street Storm Sewer Improvement Project, Special Projects Department.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. My name is Ana Hernandez, Special Projects Director for the record. I am here to request direction on how to proceed with Phase 2 of the Jefferson Street Drainage Improvement Project. As you may know, the city received a hazard mitigation grant in 2021 to complete Phase 1, with the understanding that upon successful completion and approval of Phase 1, Phase 2, the construction phase will be funded. The original scope for this project was developed over 7 years ago, and Phase 1 fell behind mainly due to permitting issues. Now for construction Phase 2, for the Phase 2, which is the construction phase, the city faces a major challenge, which is the updated cost estimate for construction that is exceptionally over the grant amount available. And so tonight, we're asking for your direction. Option 1 is to revise the scope of the project to fit the current available funding. And this will require developing a portion of the project and still meet FEMA's guidelines. Option 2 is to formally withdraw Phase 2 and focus our efforts on pursuing full funding through new grant applications. So I welcome any questions you may have.
What is your recommendation?
So my recommendation will be to go with option 1, and should that not be an option for the engineering department, to move on to option 2.
Luis, what are your thoughts?
We are capable to provide option 1.
All right, make a motion to approve option 1.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 10L,
This
consideration.
I just apologize. That benefits the fire department, so they should be very happy about this.
Well, hopefully the section that's developed will benefit that portion of the Jefferson area. So for this item, again, we're asking for direction on how to proceed with both Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the 21st Street Storm Sewer Improvement Project. This project has experienced delays similar to the Jefferson project. The original scope was also developed more than 7 years ago. The latest construction estimate exceeds the grant funding available under the current grant award. And so again, we're asking for your direction. For Phase 1, we're recommending submitting an appeal to FEMA regarding the decision to potentially disallow project costs. And for Phase 2, we recommend withdrawing from the current grant and focusing on pursuing, the full project funding through separate applications.
How, on the appeal aspect, how likely do you think we are to win?
There's no guarantee that we will get it. And so, but at least we need to try.
I agree. All right,
Yes.
make a motion to make the appeal.
I've never seen that finding number 3 is on both of them. How are we addressing that, Gabe? Because of the decentralized oversight.
One of the things that we've done is all the grants are now funneled through the grant department, so they have more oversight on reporting requirements, schematic guidelines, and so we didn't have that component before. And now that Anna's on board, that's more centralized, and so she keeps tabs on when some of the reports are due. And so that's been a big asset to us.
Okay, well, Anna, when you put right here, additional operational improvements are needed to ensure proper checks and balances, are those additional ones that what Gabe is mentioning right now, or we already took care of those, or what's
So
going
we
on?
took care of some of them. I think there's clarification to be made for finance department. They kind of receive things kind of late in the game just for processing, so I think they need a little more oversight as well. And so for now, like, let's say, as far as reimbursement requests and things like that, I think with the changes that we have implemented, that should be covered, but there's other elements as well, like when people are setting up their budgets and things like that. And as far as like programmatic compliance, our department is now handling that. So still, I think, should we elevate a concern, like we need to make sure that we have the proper support from upper management. Mr. Gonzalez is really excellent at, for that, but as well as, ACMs as well, to make sure that we have the support and staff gets things done properly on a timely manner.
Probably would be best is just to put something together in terms of best practices and just put it before us, so that way that there's, I'm a big firm believer of putting things in writing and making policy change, so that way it is followed, because if not, we don't have something in place to follow, then that's when those issues occur. I did look through all of it. Thank you for preparing and all of the memos and everything that you've done to work really hard towards this. A lot of this predated before this commission was here, but, we still have to push forward and do what we can. Yes. Yep. Thank you. All right, so those were her recommendations. This is an action item. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve a appeal, or to move forward on the appeal.
Uh-huh.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is that okay? You're looking at, it's to the appeal, and the second one is to withdraw. So there's it's a two-prong. She's looking at me like that was not okay, that was not a complete motion.
No,
So-
you said we have two options, appeal.
No, it's phase one and phase two.
Yeah, 21st is different. We don't have a lot of options for phase 2.
So just withdraw that.
Withdraw, phase 1 appeal, that would
Okay.
be the option.
So you amend the motion?
Yeah, I'm in the motion to appeal phase one, withdraw phase two.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor, opposed? And, all right, motion carries unanimously. It's been a long night, yes. All right, okay, moving on.
Item 11, board appointments, specifically appointment or discussion and possible action to include appointment and/or removal of any position subject to appointment or removal by statute, ordinance, or bylaws.
All right, Commissioner?
Community Development Advisory Board, Carly Thomas.
All right,
Everybody should have got a copy of the application.
I did get it. Look, Commissioner?
None.
And I'm Marisela Alvarado for the nonprofit Friends of the Animal Shelter.
I have a question, well,
Do you have any appointments, Mike? You?
no.
You?
No.
Okay. You have a question on the appointments?
On how many times can a person be on a board?
Depends on the different,
They're different boards.
it depends on the different boards, right? Like, so Waterworks, I think it's like up to 10 years.
No.
How many boards?
Different boards. How many?
Two. They can be on up to two different boards, unless you're on the airport board, in which you can only be on the airport board.
There's a difference between advisory boards and then regular boards. I think it's a limit on advisory boards, not on just boards.
Correct, like, for example, like the one you have, Maricela, right?
She's on
That's a nonprofit. So in my mind, that does not meet the two-board
Yeah.
maximum or whatever.
I checked it out.
Does she live in Harlingen, or is that one of those at school district?
She lives in Harlingen. She's on the Veterans Advisory Board.
I looked it up. She's, I think, in Primera. What district is she in?
I don't know.
Oh,
Should we
Should
double
have put
check?
her address on the,
Should be on the application.
correct.
And on the nonprofit board, did we designate it has to be Harlingen resident? I don't think so. No, because it's a nonprofit board, and we might bring people that are outside of the city.
BLUS.
Nonetheless, the nonprofit, I don't think it is a requirement to have residency in the city of Harlingen,
That is correct, Mayor. We didn't require residents for that.
right? Yeah. So, is there any other question?
No?
All right.
Motion to approve all y'all's appointments.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
Item 12, executive session. All items listed in this section will be deliberated in a closed session. Members of the public are not generally permitted to attend a closed session. Executive session items may be considered as an action item at the discretion of the mayor. However, City Commission will not take any action in closed session. Item 12A, pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, attorney consultation and contemplated litigation, Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real estate, and Section 551.087, economic development relating to the following projects: Project Fit, Smoke Signals, Sandberg, DC, Turbine, Tyler, Tech, and Emerald Green. Item 12B, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.07, parentheses A, to discuss the hiring of personnel chief of police.
All right, is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. It is now 8:26 PM, and we will retire to executive session. Gee Louise. All right, the time is now 9:53 PM, and we are out of executive session and back in open session. Ms. Melinda?
Okay, action on executive session items. The city commission will reconvene in open session and may take action on any item listed in the executive session section of this agenda. Item 13A, consideration and possible action on item 12A, 1 through 8, as discussed in executive session.
I'll make a motion to proceed as discussed.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item 13B, consideration and possible action on item 12B, as discussed in executive session.
Motion to appoint Deputy Chief Alfredo Alviar as the city's newest police chief pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Section 143.013.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, we think you are amazing, and I can say it now, Chief Alviar. We are so blessed to have you, and I am thankful that you were patient and you waited for us. And we are just so thrilled and excited for the future of Harlingen. You've done an amazing job as interim, and I know you're going to continue with that same passion and that same drive, and the city of Harlingen is better for it. And so thank you. We are incredibly blessed.
Come on up, Chief, after the meeting for a photo op with the commission.
All right, and that is all we have. We are adjourned, and we'll take the photo.